Ever wondered about the mystical journey through Jerusalem in search of the legendary Ark of the Covenant? What if this sacred artifact, whispered about in far-off lands like Ethiopia and Ireland, is actually closer than we think? Join us on a captivating exploration as we engage in a fascinating conversation with a researcher who believes the Ark's hiding place may be more accessible than ever imagined. Together, let's unveil the mystery surrounding the Ark of the Covenant, a powerful symbol of God's presence among the Israelites, a tangible link to the divine. Our journey takes us deep into the historical abyss, where we confront the mystery of the Ark's disappearance during Babylon's takeover of Jerusalem in the 6th century BCE. For millennia, believers, scientists, historians, and archaeologists have tirelessly sought its whereabouts. Until now, progress has been slow, but recent scientific discoveries hint at an imminent breakthrough. Scientists claim to have traced the last traces of the Ark, with some citing Ron Wyatt's discovery. Wyatt asserted finding the Ark buried beneath the remains of ancient Jerusalem. The Babylonian siege and the construction of tunnels by the Israelites to navigate the city without alerting the invaders add layers of intrigue to the Ark's disappearance. Wyatt suggested an underground chamber as the hiding place, a theory echoed by other researchers. But what if the Ark were to be found? Imagine scientists unveiling this sacred chest, examining its contents with bated breath. The first thing to do would be to confirm that it is, in fact, the Ark of the Covenant belonging to the Israelites. Imagine the scene when the Ark is opened, with the mercy seat above the pure gold covering the inside and outside, embellished with cherubim figures. The holiest section of the Ark offers a fascinating look into the long-ago relationship between humans and the divine. The real reveal comes when the scientists open the Ark. What's inside this antiquated artifact? Consider subscribing and clicking the notification button to remain informed about our exploration of Jerusalem's riddles before we reveal its secrets. Now, let's check how much you can recall about the Bible with this really easy question. Which three things are kept in the Ark of the Covenant? A. Coins, gems, and scrolls. B. A jar of manna, Aaron's rod, the tablets bearing the 10 Commandments. C. A crown, gold bars, and ceremonial robes. D. Animal sacrifices, oil, and incense. After giving it some thought, I'm sure the majority of you will know the right response. Let's now investigate how the contents startled the scientists. Inside the Ark of the Covenant were not only the 10 Commandments, as most of us may recall, but also Aaron's budded staff and a vessel containing manna. These three artifacts spoke to key moments during Israel's time in the wilderness. The second set of stone tablets represented the moral law of God, a timeless standard of righteousness. The manna in the golden bowl symbolizes the life-sustaining food that God provided to his people during their journey in the wilderness. It's a mysterious bread referred to as manna, meaning, what is it? When Jesus fed the 5,000, he emphasized that the true bread from heaven is the bread of God, providing life to the world. Aaron's rod, the same one that turned into a serpent before Pharaoh, held deeper significance when it budded and flowered. This miraculous event reinforced Aaron's chosen priesthood and was a significant moment in Israel's history. A crucial element that caught the attention of scientists was the mercy seat placed on top of the Ark. The priest would sprinkle the sacrificed blood on the mercy seat as soon as he entered the Holy of Holies. This act symbolized the atoning blood of Jesus, bridging the gap between God's holiness and man's sin. The mercy seat, much like the blood of Christ, stood as a barrier between the law of God and the presence of God. God's people have been made righteous via the blood of Jesus, and as a result, Christians are now seen by the gospel rather than the law. Let's dive deeper into the sacred nature of the Ark, an artifact so revered that touching it meant instant death. Resting within the holy Hest chamber of Jerusalem's temple, only the high priest was permitted in its presence, just once a year, either to cover or uncover the Ark. To handle the Ark, one had to be one of Aaron's sons, born to the tribe of Levi. The Levites, designated as the royal priests of the covenant, bore the responsibility of caring for all holy things. But moving these sacred objects required more than just being a Levite. You had to be a descendant of Kohath. Specifically, only descendants of Kohath could carry or move the holy things, provided they were covered correctly. Moving the ark itself was a meticulous process. Special poles, not any kind of cart, were employed, emphasizing the need for utmost reverence. Touching or carrying these sacred items incorrectly was considered irreverence, and the penalty for such actions was death. For ordinary individuals, being alive after touching the ark was an impossibility unless they could prove direct lineage to the sons of Aaron or descendants of Kohath. This stringent protocol highlights the sacredness of the ark, and the penalty for irreverence was swift and absolute. Consider the story of Uzzah, a regular person not descended from the sons of Aaron or Kohath. Like him, anyone not meeting the specific criteria would face death upon touching the ark. The ark, as the spiritual connection between God and his people, remained elusive for a reason. God, in his wisdom, chose special individuals to interact with the ark and then relay their experiences to the broader community. The Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of spiritual connection, has been lost to the world for too long. God, it seems, deliberately chose certain people to touch and represent his presence, preventing chaos and maintaining order. Special individuals were selected to encounter the Ark, acting as messengers to reassure and inspire confidence in the truth. As we contemplate the return of the Ark, it becomes apparent that only those chosen by God will have the privilege of interacting with this sacred relic. In the biblical context, a Levite was the only person God allowed to touch the ark. The Levites, without land allocation, lived devoutly, supported by tithes from other Israelites. On the annual Day of Atonement, the high priest, typically a Levite, would ascend to the holiest of holies and pour blood onto the mercy seat that sits atop the ark. This symbolic act demonstrated that, despite the broken law due to human sin, the blood activated God's mercy, triumphing over judgment. This divine interplay between mercy and judgment is eloquently captured in the book of James. The significance of the Ark of the Covenant transcends its physical form, as it represents a spiritual connection between God and humanity. Its sacred nature is underscored by the fact that even the slightest touch from an unauthorized person meant instant death. Exodus 25:14 commanded that the ark must be carried on poles, and only Levites, who were the designated priests, were allowed this privilege. The priests of the tribe of Levi, known as the Levites, would insert 2 wooden poles through the rings on the sides of the ark, ensuring it was never touched directly. The consequences of irreverence were severe, as demonstrated by the account of Uzzah in the 2nd book of Samuel. God promptly replied to Uzzah's attempt to stabilize the ark by touching it, ending his life. This emphasizes how precise and deserving of adoration the ark is. There are still a few speculations floating around about the possible sites of the ark, notwithstanding scientific findings. According to one such notion, the Ark of the Covenant is kept secure at the St. Mary of Zion Church in Aksum, Ethiopia. This version holds that the ark was taken to Ethiopia by Menelik I when he was visiting Solomon in Jerusalem, and it is now concealed in a chapel under the watchful eye of a priestly dynasty. One more intriguing idea among the Dead Sea Scrolls is revealed by the Copper Scroll. This rare record identifies 64 places where artifacts made of gold and silver, most likely from the Jerusalem temple, were concealed or buried. The Copper Scroll suggests that the Ark of the Covenant may be hidden close to the Dead Sea, maybe even in the area of Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Questions about the validity and location of the Ark's ultimate resting place are raised by the lack of clarity around its location. The idea of divine direction is taken into account when scientists investigate the possibility of finding the Ark. It begs interesting questions to consider if God would be guiding his chosen people to locate these buried riches via signs and directions. Ron Wyatt, a man claiming to have seen the Ark of the Covenant, ran into an unusual situation. When he went back to get further proof, he said 4 angels appeared in front of him and stopped him from taking pictures or recordings. These angelic creatures told him that the world was not yet ready to see this revelation, and that it would be made public in combination with an international religious rule that would be enforced. The Levites, who educated all of Israel, deposited the Holy Ark housed in the temple built by Solomon. This is the final reference to the Ark in the Old Testament, found in 2 Chronicles 35:3. This incident happened about 630 BCE during King Joshua's reign. The Ark's idea is interwoven with King Solomon's visit from the Queen of Sheba in Ethiopia's national epic, the Kebra Nagast, written in the 14th century. The story goes that when their son Menelik went to Jerusalem, even though he finally decided to return to his mother, Solomon unintentionally sent Jewish boys with him, creating a trail of enigmas and conjecture. An important chapter in the interesting history of the Ark of the Covenant is revealed in Ethiopia. The Kebra Nagast states that Menelik I, the son of the Queen of Sheba, chose to bring the Ark to the city of Aum as a kind of memento from Solomon's Jerusalem. Menelik succeeded in bringing the Ark with him and, with its presence, went on to conquer other neighboring kingdoms, creating what would become the Ethiopian Empire, despite its holy character and Solomon's desire to return it. The national history of Ethiopia is largely based on the Kebra Nagast, whose myth is so important that the medieval Solomonic dynasty claimed direct ancestry from Menelik and Solomon. The biblical significance of this dynasty, which governed Ethiopia until 1974, was formalized in the constitution signed by Emperor Haile Selassie in 1931 and 1955. The main religious organization in the nation, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, views the Kebra Nagast as authentic Christian history. According to church officials, the Ark of the Covenant has been carefully guarded for generations in the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Aksum. Even the Aksum high priest is forbidden from entering the Ark's resting room due to its extreme sanctity. A virgin monk who is confined to the hallowed grounds till his death is the only caretaker. The Church's claim to possession of the Ark is significant even if it is unverified. Every Ethiopian Orthodox church has a tabat, a revered duplicate of the Ark that is only brought out on special occasions or in times of necessity. Tats, or imitations of the Ark, are highly revered in Ethiopian Orthodox culture, underscoring the Ark's important position in the country. Verifying the ownership claims of the Ark has been challenging due to the nature of its purported guardianship in Aksum. The ultimate destiny of the approximately 3,000-year-old artifact is still a fascinating and maybe unsolvable enigma, despite the conjecture of several scholars that it may have crumbled or been destroyed over time. The Day of Atonement, when the sacrifice's blood was poured onto the mercy seat, represents the pinnacle of the Ark's significance. This deed symbolized God's heavenly splendor, with angels worshipping him day and night in front of his throne. It also represents God's re-established presence as a result of Christ's resurrection. In search of Jesus' corpse, Mary Magdalene discovered two angels at the tomb that matched the angels on the Ark. Like the Ark's symbolism, Christ's resurrection brought God's presence back to Christians. What do you think will happen to the Ark in the end? Are the assertions made by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church legitimate, in your opinion? Please share your thoughts in the section below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe and like this video for more fascinating historical and esoteric investigations. Until next time, never stop inquiring, investigating, and learning.